Welcome to another episode of Tan Band's Ghetto Hair Dyeing Tutorials. You know, we are not certified. We are not a cosmetologist, but we ain't got them funds to just be giving up for $25 a bundle to be colored. So if you want to see how I got this dark mermaid hair, just keep on watching. So first I'm going to introduce you to the bundles. I use these EBIN, well, I guess they're bundles, in Frontal from my local beauty supply store. I've just been trying out different hair just because I don't have my vendor that I usually go to on AliExpress. This is quick. I don't have to wait on it. I can literally just go to a beauty supply store and get it. But I got 3 bundles in one 13x4 ear-to-ear frontal. The bundle lengths are 16, 18, and a 22, and the frontal is a 14-inch. They're all straight. And yeah, the bundles are, I guess, a lower grade supposedly than the frontal. They all pretty much work the same to me. The frontal was a little thin for my liking. It wasn't as full as I normally like my frontals to be. And of course, the bundles were fine. I just normally don't get straight, but it was good hair regardless. So I'm going to open them up and let you see them unravel. Well, not unravel, but open out the pack. So this is the frontal. The lace was good, and the ends, all the hair is pretty good. It just wasn't as full to me as like normal frontals are. The bundles again were really good. They were full. They weren't like skimpy bundles either. Even the longest one, the 22, was still a decent amount of hair. When I constructed the wig, it didn't feel as full as I normally like my wigs, but it was a full head of hair. Like there was really no room to squeeze anything else in. And you could if I laid the tracks a little bit closer, but I laid them about a finger width apart. And again, we had a 16, 18, and a 22. As you can see, they're pretty nice sized bundles, even this 22-inch. And all the hairs lay nice and neat. So further inspecting the frontal, as you can see, it's just not as much hair. I don't really like how this frontal is constructed because it doesn't have the secure band at the back. It doesn't like do this roundabout thing. It's like you really could wear this frontal either way. You really wouldn't know which is the front and which is the back. The lace was a nice a grid pattern. It was really pretty small. The knots on the hair were nice. It was easy to bleach. It did lift pretty quickly. So other than it didn't have the securing back end, the frontal was decent. Nothing too spectacular. So I'm gonna start by bleaching the knots on the frontal. So I'm gonna take maybe a half a scoop of my powder bleach, and this one is the quick white, and I use a 40 volume developer, and I mix it until it's a like toothpaste like consistency. I have several videos like on how I construct my wigs and all this bleaching process, but I'm gonna show you anyway, just because I feel like you need to see it in this video as well. But I mix it to like a toothpaste like consistency to bleach the knots on the frontal, so it's not super thin and doesn't seep through the lace as quickly, as easily, and do too much bleaching to the hair instead of just the knots on the frontal. So I use a super light hand, and I just go all the way across the frontal and bleach all the knots. Trying to move kind of quick, but not putting too much pressure as to not push the product down through onto the hair. Even though it did, so I ended up, my hair ended up being kind of brassy. I used that purple shampoo that you can see on the end of the table to decrease the brassiness of the hair. And then after I constructed the wig, I went back in with a dark brown rinse and used the lightest hand that I could possibly use and just recolored the hair, went through the frontal and darkened up the roots so it wasn't brassy. And I went ahead and rinsed that off before I started processing the actual hair. but this is definitely F up number 1. I effed up. I never process my hair when it's wet. And I don't know if it was just the grade of this hair or what, but it really didn't lift all that much. I'm just gonna blame it on it being wet because I've never bleached my hair when it was wet before, so I'm gonna blame it on that. But I did my normal bleaching process, did the front and back of the hair, did the same exact thing with the bundles. And the frontal did not get as light, and again, I'm blaming that on because it was wet. But I let the bleach sit on there for about an hour, and like I said, I've said this in a previous video, but I just use these like old trash bags from my job when I worked at Forever 21. They don't fit in any of my trash cans. I just use them to do hair stuff with so it doesn't get everywhere. And I just fold it up so the heat will help the hair to process and get as light as it can. This is the 16-inch bundle, and I just lay it across the table, fold it over one time, and I go just placing the bleach all down the hair, and then I move up higher because I really want the majority of the hair to be colored and not black. So I go across and then I go back across, then I flip the bundle over and I do the same thing. When I get higher up to the root, I put the brush straight, so it kind of does, it's not as harsh of a transition from the dark brown color to whatever color I decide to color the hair. And my first attempt, which I did not show, I wanted to go gray, but you really cannot go gray unless you start with blonde hair, because dark brown hair is just not going to lift enough without completely damaging the hair to be light enough to take that light of a color. So that's why I went ahead and got the Tanazanite, Sapphire, that's my whole birthstone, Sapphire and Jade colors, because they were darker, so they would take on this light blonde hair, well, kind of like dark blonde hair, which still has some brown streaks in it. Because yeah, the gray just wasn't going. But I did that same exact technique on all 3 of the bundles, and I just let them sit for about an hour. Lift and color the hair 2 times. I lifted it once, tried to deposit the gray, definitely didn't take. So then I ended up bleaching again to see if it was going to get light enough to take the gray. Definitely didn't, because that's as light as it gets, as you can see right there. So I ended up switching to the colors that you saw before. So that's what I'm doing here, is sectioning off the hair and depositing the color onto it. I have 2 mixing bowls and 3 color brushes. So what I did is I emptied out 2 of the containers of the color into my bowls, and I just rotated it and deposited it onto the hair, and then used my hands and the brush, combination of the 2, to mix it and blend it and make sure it had all the strands in the hair. And then I twisted it so I could just know that that section was off, see what color it was, what color I needed to put next. I just didn't want too much of one color in one area, so I was really just, you know, going in a, what do you call that? I don't know. I was mixing them up. So whatever color I saw that wasn't in that area, I would pick up that color and do the same technique until I finished all the hair. Nothing too special. out the way. Still doing the same transitioning between the 3 colors so that no one area had the same amount of color, or same color, too much of the same color in one area. And once I finished depositing all the color and I got it saturated as much as I liked, I wasn't seeing any blonde strands, brown strands, anything other than one of the 3 colors. I went ahead and wrapped the hair up and let it process for about 2 hours. I never let it sit with the boxes. It's just never long enough to me. I just used the plastic bag so it would process as deep as it would go. So I let the hair dry overnight, and any damp areas that I still felt, since the wig was already constructed, it's a little harder to dry. I just had my blow dryer on the cool setting. And please excuse, this is the makeup moo-moo. If you follow me on Snapchat, you know this is the makeup moo-moo. When I be in work mode, I be in work mode. Don't judge me. I'm just trying to be great. So y'all know the slay always comes. But now I'm just gonna go ahead and section off. I just don't know, I was watching TV and just really feeling the hair, how the color came out. Like, I was just so in love with it. So I went ahead and used the heat protector on it because this hair has been through a lot as far as processing twice, and it's just been through a lot. So I didn't want to put too much heat on it. So I used the heat protection spray, which I normally don't do. Anyone will do. And I just straightened the hair. So when I went to wand curl it, everything will be super flat and the curls will be super nice. So I will show you that in a second. But I just went through and straightened the whole head. Did very minimal plucking on the frontal. Cut some little baby hairs because I don't have those baby hairs. So I'm always going to want to live that fantasy. I don't care what nobody says about the baby hairs. I'm always going to do it. So just went through and straightened the hair and then got to styling. Just give it a little bit more of a natural hairline. Like I said, the frontal wasn't very full to begin with, so it wasn't much that needed to be done to it. I just pulled some of the hairs in the front, cut those to make little baby hairs, and then just did random, very random, and I really only did about maybe 15 minutes of plucking, not that much at all. I do not remember right now. I will put in the description box what size wand, detachable wand portion I used. And I'm using the Ion Smoothing Flexible Hairspray to go ahead and style the hair. And what I found, I started wrapping it normal at the bottom, but I was like, then I accidentally did this flat wrap situation, and I really liked how it looked. So I'm making sure that the strand is flat. I'm taking about maybe an inch of hair, wrapping it, holding it around the wand for 15 seconds. And then before I just completely drop it, I hold it in my hand for about 10 seconds. 5 seconds I spray it, and then 5 seconds I hold it to let it cool so that the curl stays kind of locked in place. And I took my sweet time. I'll show this a couple times just so you can see what I'm doing. I get a little bit closer to the camera. I have to record on my phone. If you follow me on Snapchat, you know my camera be playing me and I just can't. But I can't really zoom in with my phone, and how I have it positioned, it's sitting on my ring light and I can't bring my ring light that close. So I'm sorry I can't zoom in to get, you know, more detail for you, but I just make sure the hair is flat in my fingers and wrap it around the wand so that it kind of overlaps but barely overlaps the wrap before it. Hold it for 15 seconds, let it cool for 10 seconds, and just keep on moving. Alright, once we've got the full hair curl, we're gonna slowly brush the hair, brush the curls out, and just get it, just really just fluffing it, perping it, zhuzhing it, whatever word you want to use. And it just looks so freaking pretty. Oh my god, I love this color. It's just dark mermaid vibes. I'm so in love with it. And then we're gonna style it, put a little makeup on it, you know, slay the day, okay? Finished unit. Is she not litty? Like, OMG, she's so pretty. I'm so in love with it. Like, the hair is decent, especially for it being from a beauty supply store, and I got it from Images Beauty, by the way. If you're anywhere in Fairview Heights, Illinois, Images Beauty, they lit. You need to hit up Omar, get at him. And yeah, this is our final product, and thank you so much for coming back to my channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay true.